Okay, here we go. First, getting ready with me. Get ready with me today for the Modern Luxury Houston 20th anniversary party. As of today, I have 275 subscribers, so no, not a lot of people commented, but of the comments that I did have, there were a couple of people that asked about my Pilates journey and how I became a Pilates instructor, so I figured that's a really good topic to talk about today. It's kind of a long story, but I'll try my best to like keep it short and sweet while I do my makeup. I should probably take my makeup out. The year is 2020. I am working at a private high school here in Houston, doing their like admissions events and like fundraising events and alumni events, and having literally the time of my life doing it. I had just retired from wedding planning. I was a wedding planner and it was the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life till this day. But I ended up retiring and I still wanted to stay in events, so I ended up at this private high school and loved every second of it. It's actually end of 2019. Was separated from my husband, my first husband. Yes, I was married before. We could put a pin in that one. Maybe I'll talk about it at some point. We were together for 10 years and then divorced in 2020. So when we separated, it was late 2019 and heading into 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020. So school shut down, events slowed down. I was very grateful for the high school that I worked for because they let me keep my job. It was a lot of fun, but it wasn't obviously doing events anymore because events stopped. Meanwhile, I had applied to a couple of companies in Austin to do corporate events, and I was like in the final stages of interviewing for a company, and my newly single self decided, oh, I should just move to Austin. I went to college there and I always wanted to go back after college. So I got a little overly excited, got an apartment in Austin and moved to Austin. And then I got to Austin ready to live my single girl life. And the job that I had applied for, they froze all jobs like in the marketing events, trade show, like all their marketing department. I was like, cool, I have no job. Thankfully, I had a little bit saved up from my company and I was like, okay, well, I have a little bit to hold me over, but what am I gonna do? What am I interested in? What am I gonna do? Rewind a little bit to 2017 and I had a little extra time. I was planning events, but I had just I didn't have a ton of events yet like I did later in my career with wedding planning. I worked part-time at an indoor cycling studio here in Houston. I really was interested in fitness and I auditioned. It still makes me laugh. I auditioned and I had zero experience. Like I just really wanted to like learn to like spin and like teach on the bike and like do all the things. And honestly, my ex-husband used to shame me for wanting to do it. He would like make fun of my friends that were instructors and be like, you just want to be like hot on a bike? And I was like, well, no, I'm actually like interested in fitness. So anyway, auditioned back in 2017, obviously didn't make it. I definitely didn't have any experience on the microphone, any experience in fitness or teaching, no certifications. So fast forward to 2020 and I was like, well, remember when you really wanted to teach spin? Like you really wanted to be a spin instructor. I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. I was like, I have all the time in the world. Nobody's doing events. And my master's degree is in hospitality and event management, and was like, I pretty much only know events. That's all I've been doing post-college. First things first, I did a bunch of research on like becoming a fitness instructor, and to no one's surprise, you really, depending on where you work, you actually don't even need credentials, which I think is kind of wild. Like you don't need any kind of like certification. It looks good if you do. I'll tell you a secret. A lot of these boutique fitness studios don't check for those things And they kind of just look for potential like personality, and like typically studios will train you on their like brand or their modalities and things like that. Being my perfectionist self was like, absolutely not. I'm not gonna go through the trauma of auditioning again with no experience or no background in fitness. I don't wanna wing it again this time. I ended up finding the NASM program. It's like National Association of like Sports Medicine, I think that's what it's called. I don't know if it's an association. I'll have to look it up. I'll put it up here somewhere, but NASM is what we call it for short. And they had, during COVID, an online program that you could do like at your own pace. You would buy all the materials, and of course, you know how it is, like they always want a ton of money for this stuff. So I was like, look, this feels a little scammy, but from my understanding from my fitness friends and from people in the industry, this is kind of like the one that you want to get. So I did the personal training one first. And honestly, it was kind of hard. Like, I hadn't really studied in a while. I graduated college in 2013, well, and then grad school in 2014. It was hard studying, especially on my own. I learn like in a classroom. Like I need somebody speaking to me. I need to see demos. I need to like, I'm like a very, I don't even know what the word is, tactical learner. Like I need to hear it. I need to see it. I need to like be present with an instructor. So that was so hard for me. Like I remember I would go to the Well, shout out to the Well on 2nd Street, because I lived in downtown Austin, and was like just sitting there. Like they had just opened, but it was always empty because it was COVID. So it was a weird time. I was like always by myself, and I was always studying. I didn't have a lot of friends in Austin. It was honestly kind of lonely, but it was good because then I was forced to study and like not mess around. And things were kind of closed. It wasn't until things opened that I really was living my best life. The spin studio that I auditioned for in Houston has an Austin location. So I was going to the Austin location literally twice a day, every day. So I was going to that studio a lot, getting my certification for personal training. And finally, I kind of was like, all right, I have the confidence. I took my test, passed my test, and was like, I'm gonna do this. I've taken literally like 700 spin classes at that point with that specific studio. So I practiced. So embarrassing. Side story. I didn't have a spin bike at my apartment complex, and I asked one of my girlfriends who lived at a different apartment complex if I could use her Peloton, because they had like Pelotons in the gym. Ask me why I was practicing on the Peloton, and this F-boy that I was with at the time, I didn't realize lived in that apartment complex. And so while I'm practicing with my headphones, like trying to catch the beat, this man taps on my shoulders and I'm mortified. I'm like, oh my God, this guy is watching me practice. And if you guys know how obviously a spin class is, it's like you're talking to yourself, you're trying to like hear the beat of the music, and like you're trying to like encourage. So I felt like an idiot, but that's a side story. Anyway, practice so much, was like, I'm gonna nail this. This is gonna be amazing, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna finally be a spin instructor. So did the audition, and quite frankly, I thought I nailed it. I thought I did a great job, and they were so sweet to me. And the guy who was the training guy called me, I think next day or the day after, and was like, I love how long it's been taking me to do my foundation. Me and ADHD, we vibe. So the guy calls me that I did my audition for, and he says, this is the craziest plot twist, guys, like literally hang tight. So the guy calls me and he's like, you had a great audition. We really see a lot of potential in you. But we were looking for a male this time around. Like we need a male instructor. Do you guys want to guess who the instructor was that they hired? This is literally the wildest plot twist of my life. So the guy that they hired was the same guy that was the F-boy that tapped my shoulder while I was writing, because he used to go to these classes as well. That's like kind of, we knew each other from college, but like we ran in the same circle and we knew the same people. He lived in downtown. Like also, like this man cannot hold a beat to save his life. Like I am so curious to see how it goes. Fast forward, he never made the schedule. but neither did I. So I never made it. I never got to train. I was super sad. One of the other instructors that worked there was so sweet. Her name was Jenny. She messaged me after and she goes, "Hey girl, I heard that, you know, you auditioned and I heard that you didn't make it to training. I have a friend. He's a manager at Solidcore." And she was like, "Solidcore is always hiring," which is still kind of the case now. She's like, "Solidcore is always hiring. They're one of the few studios that's open during COVID. And I don't know if you have ever done like reformer Pilates before, but if you're interested, I think it's a really good opportunity to get like experience on a microphone and like get comfortable on the mic." Because oh my God, that was one of my biggest downfalls, was like I was so nervous on the mic. I literally, my voice would crack and my throat would get really tight and like I couldn't get my words out. And so I was actually shocked that my audition went pretty well that second time around. I ultimately interviewed with that manager. I took no more than one Solidcore class before getting hired, which again, they took a huge chance on me, which I am forever grateful for. Because they trained me. I mean, Solidcore has a really extensive training program, which is really awesome. So I got trained. They do their training through NASM as well. So I learned a lot about the science behind a lot of the movements. And at the time, they didn't like to call it Pilates. Notice, now they call it Pilates and now they call it a reformer. Funny how that works. Get your bag, I get it. But at the time, they were very adamant about not calling themselves Pilates. Anyway, got a job at Solidcore 2020. This was, I think, September 2020. So I'm like, cool, I'm a fitness instructor. I fucking made it, I did it, right? And I'm so excited because I'm like, oh, I'm a fitness instructor. I hope I'm gonna do a good job on my makeup today, guys. Don't judge me on how I do my makeup. I taught at Solidcore almost 5 years total, but fast forward to 2022. I've met Hunter in Austin. That's a story for another day. Hunter was living in Houston, and once again, I came back to Houston because honestly, I missed Houston. Austin was a lot of fun for my single girl days, but I was definitely missing Houston. I was like, okay, Austin's fun for about 5 seconds, and I think a lot of people feel that way. It's a transient city. So I came back to Houston 2022. Made my way up the ranks at Solidcore. I got promoted two times at Solidcore, got promoted, senior and then pro coach. Helped open the Houston studio. So Houston didn't have a Solidcore studio. So they opened a studio, I think in 2022. When I was like, you know, I really wanted to be a spin instructor, but I really love this like Pilates stuff. And like, I knew Solidcore wasn't like Joseph Pilates. So I was like, okay, I really want to learn like foundations of Pilates. So I looked up a couple places that did like Pilates training certifications, and I found one called South Texas Pilates with Chow, the scariest human on the planet. Called her up, and this was back. Now if you try to call Chow, there's like a whole process because so many girls are trying to get Pilates certification. So now you have to have like a letter of recommendation. Like I've written a couple letter recommendations for a couple people, and some of them haven't even made the cut, even with the letter of recommendation from somebody who's certified from South Texas. I call Chow. Immediately, she's like the scariest human on the planet. Like immediately she's like, you need to come, you need to see like my studio, you need to see if you're serious about Pilates, and like, you need to, and she's like ex-ballerina, like this older lady, ex-ballerina, super hardcore. If I'm like type A, this woman's type AAA. So I go, I check out the studio, and I'm like, I really am interested in Pilates. I was like, right now I teach on like a reformer style class, but it's not Pilates and I want to learn about it. She ultimately like did an interview with me when I came to her studio. She literally interviews you. And she was like, okay, basically like you're cut out for Pilates. And she warned me, she's like, this is going to be difficult and you need to dedicate a lot of time to this. And so it was the Reformer 1 class. I started with Reformer before Matt. Till this day, I still have so much PTSD from getting my certification. Like girls ask me all the time about my certification. And I'm like, guys, I cannot emphasize enough that the STOTT certification I got through South Texas Pilates, so STOTT and like Balanced Body are like the top 2 certifications that you can get in Pilates. I kind of wish I had done Balanced Body. I've heard great things about Balanced Body, but you know what? I chose STOTT. I wanted like the elite Pilates, and so, you know, it is what it is. It was 50 hours, truly 50 hours. It was evenings, weekends. I had to take 2 weeks off of work. I was studying all the time. I was in my cohort was like 6 girls, so it was tiny. Now I bet the groups are so much bigger now, and Chow has moved to a bigger studio too. I mean, honestly, I think about it all the time. I'm like, Chow must be making a killing now because so many girls want to get certified that she like literally has to limit it now. Whereas before it was us 6 girls. It was such a mixed bag and it was so much fun. And we became really close, mostly because Chow was so hard and we were so scared of Chow. I mean, we spent like a whole 2 days, like 2 whole days on just breath work. And we were all a little bit confused, like behind the anatomy of it. And she would like test us the next day on the anatomy and like the kinese behind it. And all of us would be like, ugh, I don't know. Like she was just terrifying, but she was great. And when you like graduate from the program, you're like, you feel so accomplished. That's how I got my Reformer 1 certification. And then fast forward to May of that year, I got my Mat 1. And then I was at Solidcore this whole time. I did have a brief stint at Barry's. I was there for a year, but then went back to Solidcore because I miss Solidcore. I liked the culture there and I felt very comfortable there. I loved my clients there. And then fast forward, December 2024, it was kind of funny. It was like a song and dance. It was like RitualOne and I were like talking to each other, which now I know is my boss, but we were like talking to each other via Instagram. And I was a little bit nervous because I really loved Solidcore and I was very comfortable at Solidcore. I was like, okay, like I'm just gonna keep teaching this. And I was doing like private reformer sessions at my house. I had time to do a little bit of content, but fast forward, RitualOne and I were in talks and finally it was Christmas Eve and me and my boss, we ultimately were like, let's jump on a call. Cause I was like, hey, I took a class, shout out to Jose. I took Jose's Power Sculpt class and was like, okay, I like really like this concept. I'm really into it. It would be the first time I would be able to teach like traditional / contemporary Pilates in a big group setting. And I was so excited about that. I'm finally gonna be able to put like my certification to use in like a bigger group setting. So Christmas Eve, hopped on the phone with my boss, now boss, and we just like hit it off instantly. And she like explained to me like what RitualOne was and like kind of like the brand and all the different styles of classes that they have in modalities. And I was like, I can truly back this. And I think it's so awesome because the conversation was so long of us just like chit-chatting and like connecting. And then at the very end of the conversation, basically she said, can you do an 8 count? And I was like, I was a dancer for years. I literally have been training for years to try to be a spin instructor. So yes, I can do an 8 count. Yes, I can hear the beat. And I was like, so Pilates and the beat, like say less, like I'm in, let's just do it. And she's like, great, you're hired. Yeah, I had no idea what it was gonna be like. And like that first week was really rough. Like I was like, oh my God, the cueing is all off. Like the music's all off. I don't really know what to do. And then like, I mean, I caught on quickly. I got the hang of it, but it was so fun to like be able to put like my Pilates certification to use. And like, I don't know, it was like, and it's a dream. It's a dream to be somewhere where I feel like I belong and I feel like my skill set is there. So yeah, people ask about my journey with Pilates a lot, especially now. A lot of girls want to get certified and like more power to you to get certified. I would be remiss if I didn't say like it really was so hard. Like it was a lot of studying, the testing, like you have to do like so many hours of Pilates reform. Like I did the reformer hours and like I did it like private sessions and you have to like log everything, and then once you have enough hours, then you have to take the practice test. So you take like a paper test, like a written test, and then you have to do like a practice test where you actually like teach a class to your instructor. And it's so intimidating. And I cried many tears. It was a lot. That's how I got my Pilates certification, and that's how I started teaching Pilates. Started at Solidcore, I went to Barry's, now I'm at RitualOne, went back to Solidcore, and then since I've left Solidcore, it's taken a little bit of a different turn culturally, and I just didn't feel as excited about being there anymore. I miss the clients every single day. Literally, like some of the best clients in the world are there. I also love my clients at RitualOne, and it's also fun. You know, RitualOne is such a good like cross-training, like a complement to Solidcore. So like a lot of my clients that I had at Solidcore come to RitualOne, and that's super fun. So they get to see a different side of me than at Solidcore, because Solidcore is very, it's a little restrictive, right? Like they have like a very strict brand, and like you have to follow the brand, and like there's so many rules, so many emails. And I get it, right? They have a standard, and they have like hundreds of studios now, it feels like. So with that comes change, and I didn't have as much creative freedom as I do now. So it's kind of cool to be able to show my longtime Solidcore clients that I can do other stuff, right? That like I can do HIIT, I can do Pilates, I can do power sculpt, and it's just fun. It's so creative. So I think people ask me all the time about my journey because they're interested in doing it. And what I say to that is, if you have the time, yes, if you have a little bit of money to get certified, those certifications are not cheap. Do it. Like it's so rewarding, but just be sure that you're, you know, committed. It was 2020. I had nothing to lose. I was like, I have no job. I am newly divorced, and I had turned 30, and I was like, well, what am I gonna do with my life? So just make sure the timing is right for you if you're gonna do it. And if you're gonna do it, definitely like commit to it. I think fitness, we make it look easy. Like that's our job, to make it look easy, but it's really not. It's very time consuming, and you have to really love it. There's absolutely a difference between loving taking class and teaching it, because your relationship with fitness changes when you teach it. If you're not super passionate about it, you will get burnt out. I mean, the amount of energy, like just mental currency it takes sometimes to show up for your clients when maybe you're not 100% is so tough. It's like a big mental game. And so that's where passion comes in. If you're passionate about it, it just like, it takes over. Like it's crazy how many times I'm so exhausted right before class and feel so defeated. And I'm like, am I gonna be able to do it? Literally like, Jesus, take the wheel, big sigh, like big deep breath to get through it. And you do. When you love it, when you truly have a passion for it, you get through it. And clients are the best part of teaching. There is nothing more rewarding than seeing clients evolve, seeing clients progress, and just seeing clients like attitude. It's always like kind of weird before class because you can tell like people are either tired or like maybe not in the mood to work out. And then like by the end of class, it's like all smiles. People feel energized. And part of that is obviously the dopamine hit of literally all the stimuli in the world hitting you, right? The heat, the sweating, the music, the energy, like it changes your mood. Like it's inevitable that it's going to change your mood, but it's so gratifying. We had so much fun together as a class, like, and when it's not about you, that's the other part about teaching that I think people forget. In my 20s, when I wanted to be that spin instructor, I really just wanted the attention. Sometimes you're like, I just want that. Like, I just want to be on the podium and I just want to be like that girl, right? Especially, I looked up to a lot of girls that worked at that spin studio, and I still do. They're still, most of them are still instructors till this day, and some of the best in Houston. I just remember looking up to them and just being like, I want to do that. Like, I want to be center stage. I want all the attention. But when you start to teach and you start to tap into that passion, you realize so quickly that it's not really about you. Shout out to my friend who's still an instructor in Dallas, John Michael, but he was like, people don't come to class to see you. People come to class to feel seen. That really resonated and stuck with me. And I think that really changed the trajectory of like my fitness career, where I was like, stop making it about you. Being able to like flip that switch and be like, okay, focus on people's form, focus on the energy, the vibes, how are people feeling, like, and kind of like figure out how to cater to each person in the room while still feeling like you're catering to a whole community and group is so much fun. You start to realize that it's not about you. And when you realize it's not about you, it just gets that much better. Like it really does. It's so much fun, and it changes just everything, your perspective and how you program and what music you use, like thinking about the people that are in the room, especially if you start to get consistent people in the room. Because then you're like, oh, I know this person likes this kind of music, or I know this person likes this specific move, or they love to do glutes, or they love to do arms, biceps, and you're like, cool, I'm gonna do it just for them, which is so fun. I feel like I need a little bit more blush. I don't know, I feel like my makeup looks terrible, but it's okay. This is what happens, I'm distracted. LOL to my camera getting overheated. That's my camera saying, all right, you need to shut up and get to work. I feel like I went on the longest rant about being a fitness instructor, and if you guys stayed for that long, that's awesome. I still need to straighten my hair a little bit. It's a little flippy looking. Put my jewelry on, put my dress on. I'll show you guys the final look, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to film at this event. I highly doubt it, and I'm not gonna be that person bringing her little like influencer camera, vlogging camera to an event. This was my first getting ready with me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my story time and Pilates journey. It's been a long journey, but it's still going, and we'll see where this evolves in the next few years. Thanks, guys.